I'm going to talk about pain body today, and this is something that I learned from Ekhardt Tolle, and he learned it from the Buddhists. It's all about sometimes proverbial does hit the fan, doesn't it? I mean, we just have to be honest. Pain body shoes, I'm going to call those, it's just like you don't want them on. You want to kick those suckers off as fast as possible, but you're just feeling the pain for whatever reason. It might be that you've, something dramatic has happened, like, you've lost someone special, or they've crossed over, or they've left you, or you've had a big full-on fight, or you've lost your job, or you've had a big set to with a buddy of yours, or with one of your kids, or whatever the case might be. Now, what he talks about with pain body is, he talks about it from an energetic point of view. It's like, he says it's almost like a dark cloud that moves into your presence, and it kind of just hovers and stays for a while, and then it does move on. And this is what instead of resisting it and fighting it and going, this is horrible, whatever, which makes it even worse for you. And dare I say, if you have your Rastus shoes on, and shades on, which is, your reticular activating system is now focusing only on the negative, you're going to attract more negative. You're going to notice more negative. You're going to pull in more negative, more pain. Okay. So if you're sitting there with your parrot shoes and your downward spiral going, this sucks, I can't handle it, it's dreadful, my life's the pits, you can hear the story, it's already, and I'm resisting going down that spiral, because I'm like, no thank you, you can actually have that. All right. But this is what we do to ourselves, and especially when, the proverbial has hit the fan and you go into a state of overwhelm, your body, your body tends to just want to collapse, doesn't it? And sometimes you need to honor that. So what he talks about is the acknowledgement and awareness that it's just passing through. So the way that to deal with it is to be in the owl shoes, the super owl shoes, where you step back, you look at it and you go, I recognize that this is pain body. I'm feeling the pain. Do some somatic experiencing exercises. If you haven't got my emotional resilience toolkit, go get that. You totally want to have that in your handbag so you can use it whenever you want. It's an emotional resilience tools that, it's a virtual toolkit, not a real thing, but it'll show you how to move through that and release that pain, so that you can deal with it better. We all have upsets in our lives, whether we like it or not. This is what I always call is like a state of upset is really always governed by an expectation not being met. I thought that this was going to happen. This is what actually did happen. I thought I would feel this way, and I feel like this. I thought, I was going to have this amazing time, and it was crap. Whatever the sensation is. Okay. So, and I can remember like days. I mean, I just remember, do you know what's popped into my head? And I'll share it with you. And I didn't have the access to all this stuff then. So, I wish I had known this, which is why I'm doing this for you guys, because man, life would be so much easier if we knew this stuff beforehand. Why don't they teach this in schools? This emotional resilience toolkit, everybody should have that. Every single person on the planet should have the emotional resilience toolkit, so that they can share it with their kids, so that when the pain body arrives, it's not so painful, and when we recognize it and we do all of these things, we can have it, let it go quicker. We don't have it, hanging in our space for longer than it needs to be. If we can actually step back and just go, I'm glad that's over, and we were able to push, let that drift on. So, Tolle talks about let the pain body, come like a dark cloud, and know that the dark cloud will drift. Nothing is permanent, nothing, in life. Everything shifts. It's all energy. It all moves on. You just have to wait until that actually happens. And sometimes you have to have your dig deep shoes on to get through it, but it does pass. So you got to hang on to that hope. You got to have the focus, the super owl shoes, you know, on there. And let me share this like one. And I remember feeling really sorry for myself because years ago I shared a flat in the UK with a whole bunch of people who were big party animals and unfortunately were into recreational drugs, which I was not. I was a drinker, but I was never a user of that. Anyway, and I was scheduled to go to Spain to have Christmas with some a Zimbabwean buddy over there and to go skiing. So I was very excited and I was really quite pleased, if I'm honest, to be out of that environment because they were all off work and they'll all be doing this big partying. So anyway, and what happened? The weather set in and all flights got grounded, and they got grounded for like I think it was 48 hours or longer, and the backlog as a result meant that all flights were now going to be knocked on for the following week. So it meant that I wasn't going to be able to go at all. It wasn't even that I could go and then go for a shorter period of time. By the time they had sorted everything out, because it was really quite bad, it landed up being that I couldn't go at all. So I landed up having to go back to this house, which I really didn't want to go and spend Christmas with, you know, folks who were in that kind of headspace. And, you know, it wasn't long after that I decided, you know, I've got to move out of here because this isn't working for me. So I did do that. Had a headache for 2 weeks because of that. But anyway, there you go. But the pain body was intense because I was so miserable. I was like feeling really sorry for myself. I was like, well, you know, I really wanted to go and be with friends that I can identify with and have a great time and go skiing and have fun. And this is the worst Christmas ever. And and no one's here because everybody had gone away and gone with their friends. And so here I was left with this environment that I really didn't want to be in. So that was real pain body. But imagine if I had learned all the stuff that I had back then, you know, like if I had known about, oh, this is just pain body moving through, you know, if I had gone, okay, I recognize it, and then I had my acceptance shoes on and I go, you know, it is just what it is. And instead of feeling for myself, why don't I just get off my butt and go out and, you know, have dinners or whatever with mates in London? I mean, you know, totally fixable. Well, I have to say a lot of them were away, you know, but make a plan, you know, like it's like step out of those shoes, stop feeling sorry for yourself. I would have done my EFT and my, you know, all my emotional resilience toolkit stuff to get rid of the sadness and the upset and the disappointment, the pain of like, you know, this is the worst Christmas ever. And then I would have been like, wow, you know what, that's not ideal. Am I going to let that wreck my Christmas? No. So I would have had my super owl shoes on. It's like, would have had that, you know, healthy internal rhetoric, healthy internal dialogue going on to say, well, look, how can we change this? How could this be better? So being aware of when pain body is just pain body and it's moving through, don't fight it. Somatic experiencing exercises to release it as, you know, as quickly as possible instead of locking it up in the body and carrying it for weeks on end afterwards. I could have got rid of it straight away. I've done some breathing. I could have been in touch with nature, made lemons out of lemonade. There's so many tactics now that I would have used if I'd known, you know. But benefit of hindsight, right? So it's the same thing for you guys. It's like, I want you guys to go, right, I'm going to pull those pair of shoes out and that pair of shoes over there and that pair of shoes there. I'm going to do the emotional resilience toolkit. I'm going to use these tools out of that kit to do that. Haven't completely shifted it, so I'm going to do another one, you know. And then before you know it, the pain body has gone from big dark cloud, dissipated, and now it has moved on because your energy is now positive. And that's what happens with energy. It's like the magnetic forces of the negative, which is that whole rastas, glasses and shades and shoes, is all about, is like, if you focus on it, you're sending out the vibration of the negative, and it's going to attract more negative. So instead of getting the cloud getting darker, why don't we have it where it dissipates and gets lighter and it moves on? wave that sucker goodbye. I was glad to wave that sucker goodbye. But I tell you, it wasn't easy. And I really wish I'd known this stuff. I mean, how much, you know, how good is this? I really hope you're enjoying what I'm teaching here. I hope you're finding it useful. I hope you're actually adopting this stuff. I mean, it's amazing. When you start going, oh, so that's why I'd use it. Oh, so that's how I'd use it. Oh, that's when I'd use it, you know. Oh, that's why I put those shoes on. Oh, I didn't even know I was wearing those shoes. Well, I don't want those shoes. I don't want to feel sorry for myself. You know, those are no good. Who wants that? I don't. Anyway, so we want you in your shoes, on your path, going your own way, don't we? So, namaste to that, and we'll see you tomorrow.